It's finally time. We are giving our kitchen a much needed makeover to brighten and update it. We will be painting over the cherry stained cabinets, changing out the backsplash, and updating the fixtures. This is a major project with stunning results, so let's get straight into how we made it happen. Oh, and don't worry, the cabinets are not real solid cherry wood, but rather engineered wood stained a cherry color like most builder grade cabinets are. These cabinets are over 10 years old and need refinishing. The first step in this process was removing all of the cabinet doors and drawer faces. But before removing a single door, my dad Benny drew out a rough sketch of the kitchen cabinets and gave each door and drawer a code. Next, my mom Amanda went around and put a small piece of painter's tape on each door and drawer. Then my dad followed that up with the code assigned to each one so that we can reinstall them all in the correct spots later. The doors went from the kitchen into the back of my dad's pickup truck so that he could drive them around to the basement where we will be refinishing them. In case you didn't know, cabinet drawer faces are easily removed by unscrewing them from the inside. A week later, we stacked the doors outside in preparation to clean them. My parents and I set up a surface where we could each scrub the doors and drawers clean. This is a crucial step in the process because kitchen cabinets are always dirtier than they look. Before washing each drawer, we removed the painter's tape label and transferred the code to the spots covered up by the hinge, and then covered the code up again so that it wouldn't get painted over later. We use liquid TSP to ensure that any grease, oils, or grime is thoroughly washed away and that the paint has the best possible chance of sticking to the surface. It's okay to get the doors wet as long as the moisture doesn't sit on the wood for too long. As long as you towel dry them, the water won't do any damage. After cleaning and towel drying each door and drawer, we put them here on our drying racks. We built these when we painted another large kitchen and needed somewhere to put the doors and drawers during the whole project. These racks are located in our basement painting studio, a well-used workshop that is very handy to have. Vintage Hip Decor started as our furniture and kitchen cabinet painting business over 9 years ago. That's why we have this dedicated workspace complete with a spray booth. We have painted many kitchens over the last few years, so we have lots of valuable information to share on how to properly get it done. We will be sharing lots of tips, products, and information in this video, but we are also going to create a video where we go into even deeper detail on how to paint kitchen cabinets the right way. We will link it at the end of this video when it goes live. We use this as a place to store the doors and drawers while they dry throughout the painting process, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The next step is to sand everything to smooth it out and to scuff up the surface of the doors, but right before that we had some hardware holes to fill in. Since the putty would need sanding anyway, we filled in those holes first so that we could do all of the sanding at one time. We used Bondo all-purpose putty because it dries very hard very fast. The only holes that we needed to fill in were on the drawer faces, since we are switching from knobs to handles. As for the doors, we will be using the existing hole and drilling a second one later on. After the putty dried, we moved on to sanding that smooth and then scuff sanding all of the wood. Now, let me introduce you to our Surf Prep sander. This sander has saved us countless hours of hand sanding because it can do what no other sander can. It can easily, effectively, and most importantly, quickly sand any grooves, edges, or corners. The Surf Prep sanding pads contour to any decorative molding, making it possible for us to sand all of our doors and drawers without the painful, time-consuming hassle of hand sanding. If you are considering painting your own kitchen, or if you do a lot of DIY projects around your own home, this sander can save you so much time and effort. It is linked down in the description for you. We purchased this sander over a year ago, and when the folks at Surf Prep heard that we are big fans and that we're sharing our love of this sander with you, they offered you a discount of 10% using the code VINTAGEHIP10. To speed up the process of sanding 45 doors and drawers, my dad used our DeWalt orbital sander to scuff up the flat surfaces while I took care of sanding all of the edges and decorative molding with the Surf Prep sander. As we finished, we passed them down to the end where my mom dusted them off and then wiped them clean to ensure no dust stuck around, because the next step is priming. It is just so satisfying watching that paint go on. We opted to spray our kitchen cabinets instead of hand painting or rolling them because it's just so much faster. We have 2 paint sprayers from our days of painting furniture and kitchens, and both are linked for you along with everything else that we used for this project. We linked a 3rd sprayer for you that is also fantastic. It's from a very highly trusted paint sprayer brand named Wagner, and you can find it right on Amazon. For primer, we tried this Smart Prime by Zinsser. It boasts being able to block all stains, which we knew we would need because of the cherry stain on our cabinets. Since we are spraying it, we mixed a quart of primer with a 1/3 cup of water to thin it out, which you have to do with most paints before spraying them. My husband Alex painted all of the doors and drawers for us, as well as a lot of other things in this project. But as he finished a door, he would put it on the rack to dry and grab the next one. Spraying all of the doors and drawers took roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours per coat. Imagine how long it would take by hand. We're grateful for Alex's experience and expertise with spraying. Later on, you'll see that I tried it out for the first time and it was pretty easy to pick up, which means it's doable for beginners too. Now that the doors are well underway, we started getting the cabinet boxes prepped for paint. We cleared everything off of the countertops and got to scrubbing. My mom and I worked together to clean the cabinets with warm water and liquid TSP. We gave special attention to cleaning the floor right along the cabinets to ensure the painter's tape that we were about to put down would stick well and not curl up later in the process, especially when painting. The plan was to paper, tape, and tent off the entire kitchen so that we could spray the paint on without getting it on anything else. We started by lining the cabinets with painter's tape in preparation to put paper down. Next, we covered the countertops and floors with builder paper. This was tiring work, but even if you hand paint your kitchen, it's a good idea to cover as many surfaces as you can to protect them from the paint. As for inside the cabinets, we removed all of our drawers and stored them in the garage. We covered them with plastic sheeting to keep dust off of everything. Then the cabinets got covered up with this 3M brand masking plastic that comes pre-lined with tape. We also used that to cover appliances that we still wanted access to in between coats of paint. Once all of that was done, our kitchen looked like this. We didn't cover the walls or the backsplash since the walls are getting a new paint color and the backsplash is getting replaced. Just like the doors and drawers, the boxes need a solid scuff sanding to help the new paint finish last for many years to come. I started with the most important part of sanding, putting on my mask. This is where our Surf Prep sander came in very handy again. Because of the small footprint, it's perfect for sanding all the thin edges of the kitchen cabinets. I quickly sanded all the curves and grooves of the crown molding and navigated the tight corners with ease. The Surf Prep sander hooks up to a small vacuum hose, which is a big help with managing the dust, making it a great sander to use indoors. Now it's time for something really fun, demoing the travertine backsplash. Who doesn't love a good demo day? One piece of travertine is off, baby! Bye! I was so excited to see this happen that I insisted on getting in there and trying to rip some tiles out myself. Ripping out the tiles requires scoring along the edges and trying to break up the grout so that you can rip it out in chunks. Our strategy was to remove the bottom row of tiles, then rip out whole pieces of drywall to get big chunks removed at a time. Nice. Does it feel good to get that out?
Yes. Progress.
This made a huge mess and we tried to clean as we went. Our island also has a bit of backsplash, which was much easier to remove. Once it was all out and cleaned up, we were left with exposed insulation, so my dad got to work installing new drywall. After all of the sanding, demo, and drywall install, we wiped down all of the cabinets with microfiber cloths and denatured alcohol. While all of that work was happening in the kitchen upstairs over the course of a week, Alex worked on spraying the doors down in the basement. He did 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of paint total on both sides of the cabinet doors throughout the project. We would not have been able to get this project done without all of Alex's hard work and willingness to help us with this transformation. We are so grateful for all of his dedication. After the first coat of primer, we worked on drilling new holes in the doors and drawers for the handles that we picked out. Pro tip, if you're painting something that you plan to drill new hardware holes in, don't wait until all the painting is completed to avoid having to do touch-ups at the end. Now back upstairs to the kitchen where it is time to get the first coat of primer on the kitchen cabinet boxes. We were very impressed with this primer that we chose and can highly recommend it. Our kitchen project required just over 2 gallons of primer to cover everything with 2 coats. Also, it did an amazing job blocking the red cherry stain underneath from bleeding through the finish. With the first coat of primer up, we officially don't have any more red cherry stain in our kitchen. The next day, I quickly smoothed out the first coat of primer and took on using the paint sprayer for the first time. The biggest learning curve was figuring out how much paint to spray at one time because too much will cause drips, but it's easy to get the hang of. It's a bit tough to see here, but of course, each coat of primer and paint covers the cabinets a bit better. We did 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of Sherwin-Williams emerald trim enamel in the color Alabaster. We chose their semi-gloss sheen for our cabinets. We decided to paint our kitchen island a different color than the rest of our cabinets. We chose a light gray color by Sherwin-Williams called Skyline Steel in the same paint and sheen as the rest of the cabinets. Before all of the coats of paint were done, we went around with caulk to fill in any gaps or nail holes to give everything a more finished and polished look. This small and easy step made such a difference in the overall look of the kitchen. Next came installing our new backsplash tile. This was my dad's first time demoing and installing a kitchen backsplash, and I must say he did an excellent job. Before starting, he did research, he took his time to measure everything out carefully and constantly checked to see that everything was evenly spaced and level. We are very grateful for all of his hard work to get it done for us. Information about what tile we chose and all the other fixtures you're about to see us install can be found linked in the description and also in this Planning Our Kitchen update video where we talk about the design choices we made for this project. That video will be linked for you at the end. Out of all of the steps of this makeover, installing the backsplash probably took the longest to complete, mostly because of all of the special measurements and unique cuts, but my dad got us there and it looks great. After all of the tile was installed, I took on grouting it myself. I have never done that before, but I did some research, watched some videos, and got it done. My mom really helped me out by cleaning up any grout I dropped since it was pretty messy, and she helped sponge and wipe it all down to finish it off. A part of this project that I was really looking forward to was updating the wall color. We chose Aesthetic White by Sherwin-Williams, which is a pretty grayish color that sometimes looks light gray, but sometimes looks a little bit more creamy. We love the color, but it did end up looking a little lighter than we anticipated. We were hoping for a bigger contrast in color between the walls and the cabinets, but it's still better than the color that was on the walls that was contributing to the whole kitchen looking so dark, yellow, orange, and red. While I was painting the walls, I realized that we should probably take down our clock and update that too. So I spray painted it black and finished painting the wall where it hung. The last thing that needed painting was the cords of our new light fixtures. I wrapped the light fixtures in plastic, hung them from a pole, and used my new favorite gold spray paint to cover that orange. With all of the painting completed, it is time to get the new fixtures installed. My dad got started by turning off the power and taking down the first Tuscan style pennant. Then Alex got started with the second one, and they both worked together to get them swapped out to the new gold lantern style pendants that we picked out. My dad went downstairs to turn the power back on, and we were very happy that they both came on without any issues. We quickly noticed that the bulbs we ordered were too bright, so we swapped them out for warmer, less bright bulbs that looked much better. After the light fixtures were up, it was time to reinstall all of the doors and drawers. Then we installed the new gold handles that we chose. Lastly, Alex worked on changing the 2 kitchen faucets. Changing faucets looks just like this, someone laying under the sink for a bit, loosening everything. We went from this silver builder grade one to this lovely sleek gold one that we love. Even though we have experience changing out faucets, there was an issue we couldn't resolve ourselves, so we had a handyman come by and finish installing those for us. Thanks, Scott! That's it, we did it! We gave our kitchen a major makeover, and now it's time to see the satisfying results in all of the before and afters. Once our in-depth video about how to properly paint kitchen cabinets goes live, it will be linked for you right here. Until then, see more details about our kitchen makeover design in this video.